Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me for another 5 minute video. This week we will be talking about the word church. It kind of joins in with last week's word of unity, but we'll get into that a little bit if we have time at the end of the video. Now, a lot of times people will say, "We are going to church," or "Where do you go to church?" With a lot of people, the idea they have in mind is of the building you're going to. Um, so I wanted us to look at that word and see how we should actually be thinking about the church, because it'll also help you in your Bible study when you read certain verses. Just to have a proper idea of what the word means helps a lot. So I have about 4 verses that I wanted us to consider. Uh, I'll add a fifth one which allows for that idea to actually come out. That is the one that I'll read. So let us get into that really quick. If you consider Matthew 16:18, in that verse, Jesus says, "I will build my church." Now, you have to wonder then, is Jesus talking about building an actual building that people will go into? And if he is, where is that building today? Then we can also look at Matthew 18:17. This is talking about if a brother has sinned against you and it goes through a number of steps to take. And then in verse 17 of Matthew 18, it says, "You tell it to the church." So now, are you going to go and stand in front of the building and tell it, or whatever you have to tell it? And then we can look at Acts 2:47. This is when the 3,000 were baptized, and it tells us that God added them to the church. So was God adding these people to a building? And then we look at Acts 5:11. This is we find Ananias and Sapphira here, and they had lied. And if you read through chapter 5, you can go through that account, and it comes to the point where it tells us great fear fell upon all the church. So again, is it the building that the fear is coming upon? Now, I'm sure if you've considered this with me, we will both agree that clearly this is not the physical building that it is talking about. Fear is something that you can ascribe to a person or an animal. And you tell things to other people. I don't know why you would tell it to a building. And Jesus is talking about building a church. It is not a physical building, otherwise that's where everybody would be going. And that actually links into the unity bit, but again, that's a hint at that. If we consider 1 Peter 2:5, which is the one we're going to be reading, "Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ." So it calls, Peter is here talking to the Christians in that location, and he's calling them living stones, which are used to build up a spiritual house. So these are the people who are being used to build a spiritual house. And if we look at it, it has in consideration the idea of what was going on in the Old Testament with the temple. But let's not go in that direction. So if you take the idea in there and apply it to the verses we were looking at, the verses in Matthew and in Acts, you will see that this is a spiritual building we are talking about, and the people make up that spiritual building. So when we say we are going to the church, we are talking about the gathering of the people, not the actual building itself. And this helps a lot when you read a lot of verses in the Bible, because you will get a better idea of what the verse is trying to communicate to you. So I just wanted us to touch on that, and with the few seconds we have remaining, when we talk about unity and how it joins to the last topic, I want us to note that there is only one such place it is talking about. Only one. So we cannot have, as we have today, many churches. There has to be one. So if you are watching this video, I want you to consider that, and also to consider what place of worship you're going to, and look at the Bible. Consider that there is just one place that Jesus designated his church, and seeing how in the religious world there's a lot of the churches out there disagree, surely only one can be correct. So thank you for your time. I will just end it there, and I hope you have a good Bible study. If you have any questions or comments, just put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.